What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Tron today, TRX, USD. Hit that like button, subscribe, and we're going to get into it, but this is going to be a little bit different than the normal TA videos we give. The premise of this video, the thought behind it is that I believe there's a relationship with Tron and Bitcoin, Tron and maybe even the rest of the market. I believe this cycle, Tron is front-running the rest of the crypto market. I think it makes its moves ahead of time. When Tron finds its low, the market seems to find its low days or weeks after. And it just seems to front run the market. Whenever it finds its top, same thing with the price. When Tron finds its top, Bitcoin and the rest of the market finds its top afterwards. So I think that this could give us a little foreshadowing, a little bit of a glimpse into the future as far as what our price action is going to be like. Hit that like button, subscribe. Let's get into it. Okay, here we are. Okay, this will be more or less a standard form of analysis, but we are going to compare Tron and Bitcoin here in a second as well. If we're looking at this on the weekly time frame, first and foremost, getting to know this thing a little bit from the high of last cycle in April of 2021 to the low here, its bear market was very short. I mean, is this all a bear market? Maybe it all is. I don't know. I mean, really it's just consolidation phase. It's just consolidation is all it is. Your high to low, your bear market, quote unquote, was this. And the rest was just crab market sideways. That's all it was. Then you moved up all the way up to your golden ratio where you wicked, you found resistance. You got above your 1414, came back down. You probably do find support at your 1272, or you've already found support, now you're ready to move up higher again, right? And I think going forward, we're going to see that we'd prefer to see that Tron finds support here and that it moves higher. We'd prefer not to see that it goes to the 1272, because if we go to the 1272, that may imply, in this weird kind of way of thinking, that the rest of the market has lower to go as well. Some people might be hearing this and thinking, why does Tron matter? It's not Bitcoin, it's not Ethereum. No, it's not, but it is the number 8 crypto. It is one of the biggest cryptos in the space as far as market cap goes and popularity goes. And in the eastern parts of the world, it's actually a lot bigger of a deal. In America, in the western parts of the world as well, you might not hear of Tron so much, but that's because the guy that made it is Chinese. The people who this is being promoted to, the people who are partnered with this, who are making this thing what it is, they might not speak English for the most part. It's not that they don't speak English. I'm sure there are plenty of them that do, but it's the language barrier language barrier between the eastern and western hemispheres is what drives a lot of this stuff. Like BNB and TRX, whenever they were at all-time highs, some people noticed, but most people didn't notice. Where if SWI or Hyperliquid was at new all-time highs, everybody was talking about it, right? But those are much lower market caps than Tron is. Or Chainlink, if it was moving up. Monero breaking out, right? Even Monero. Zcash got a lot of love. But where was the love for Tron and BNB, right? And the reason why is because these are Chinese cryptos. They are. They literally are. Now, they're not Chinese as in like the government Chinese. I just mean both the founders themselves are Chinese. So that I feel like the language barrier creates a bit of dissonance there, and people might not be aware of how big of a deal that Tron is. But I'm going to stop talking so much and trying to make a big deal out of Tron. I'm making the point that I do think Tron has the capability to front run, to lead the markets because of the positioning it's in. It is the number 8 crypto, and if it wasn't for USDC or USDT, it would be the number 6 crypto, right? If stable coins didn't exist, it'd be number 6. I think of it as the number 6 coin. So yes, it's a big enough market cap where I think it could lead the markets. We look at this here, and you can see that the blue line is Bitcoin. The candlesticks is Tron. Okay. If we look here, and maybe actually let's even put the candlesticks on for Bitcoin. We'll do candles, and maybe I'll just change the color of it. Maybe we'll just make Bitcoin, that way it stands out a little bit. It's white, and then what, gray? Does gray stand out? No. Oh, we don't want to do that. No. Hold on. Maybe we do. White. Is that it? Yeah, we'll just make it white, whatever. It can be white. So that's the Bitcoin chart. This is the Tron chart, right? We're just using the candlesticks for reference. Tron here in November of 2022 found its low this week. Bitcoin found its low literally the very next week. That was the low. The very next week was Bitcoin's low. Not this week, but the week after. Not this week, but the week after. That was the low. Okay. Tron found its low here. Bitcoin found its low on that same week as well. Okay. Tron finds its low here. Bitcoin finds its low the next week. Tron finds its low here. Bitcoin finds its low 4 weeks later. Right after Tron. How many times have we seen Bitcoin find its low before Tron? Not once. Once it was on the same week, but not once before. Every other time Tron has found its low before. Tron starts to consolidate here. It finds its high. Bitcoin keeps running. It doesn't start to consolidate until later. Tron starts to run probably here. That's whenever it broke out. It closed above that there. Bitcoin's still consolidating for a few weeks. Sorry. Tron tops off here. Bitcoin tops off later. Bitcoin bottoms out here. Tron bottoms out way over here. Right? Tron starts to rally here. Bitcoin doesn't start to rally until over here, right, at a later date. When Tron tops off its next significant high right here, Bitcoin tops off 2 weeks later. When Tron finds its low here, or even here, right, Bitcoin finds its low weeks later. Tron finds its low first, then Bitcoin finds its low. Tron tops off first, then Bitcoin tops off, right? Tron tops off here. Sorry about that, you guys. It's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Tron tops off here. Bitcoin finds a high the same week, but it doesn't actually top off until weeks later. Right? Now, here's the one thing that's got me a little bit scared, a little bit nervous. I'm shaking in my boots a little bit. Is that Tron, as of this week, has seen, technically, a lower low. We do actually have a lower low this week. Whereas Bitcoin does not have a lower low. Might Bitcoin, if Tron has found a lower low, might Bitcoin have a date with destiny to lower prices? The point still remains that if Tron can be proven to be at a low point here and start to recover, I think we can count on recovery from Bitcoin as well in a short amount of time, whether it's the same week, the next week, or maybe 4 to 6 weeks after, as we've seen throughout this whole kind of little example here. If we look at TRX USD, man, what is wrong with me? Hold on. I'm going to drink some water, guys. Hold on. All right. There we go. That way nobody has to hear it, right? I'm sure it's very pleasant for everybody's ears hearing me go. Anyways, golden ratio 1414. Again, this is what has me worried, and this is why I'm worried in the first place, is that typically in this kind of situation, you would expect to go to the 1272. Tron hasn't done that yet. If Tron hasn't found its low, that typically implies that Bitcoin might have lower to go too. Typically. Not always, but typically. At least throughout the cycle, that's kind of how the dynamic's been. I think, and by the way, if anybody out there is like superstitious and you're like, oh my God, Tron did get a lower low, that means Bitcoin has to go lower. It's not like that. I mean, Tron could go lower this week, see a lower low. Bitcoin's low could have been there. They both start to move up together. It doesn't have to be. I'm not saying it has to keep up that way, but that has how it's been. That has been how it's been this whole cycle so far. Every time Tron tops, it's before Bitcoin. Every time it bottoms, it's before Bitcoin. Or at the very least, the same week as Bitcoin. This is different. This is a little bit different here. So we look at TRX. We look at TRX on the short term. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame, and then we'll zoom out from there. This is where the TA will get a little bit more standard. This is a good recovery. This is a really good recovery. And again, the whole idea here is that Tron, to a lot of you watching this, because a lot of you are from the Western world who are watching this, less from the Eastern world. I know I have an audience from the Eastern world, but again, most people who speak, Mandarin or Chinese, I don't know. I think it's Mandarin is the proper terminology for the language. I know there's like different dialogues or dialects of that language, like hundreds, I think, of different dialects, if I'm not mistaken. But my YouTube channel probably doesn't get as many people from the Eastern Hemisphere as it does from the Western Hemisphere, right? And we don't talk about Tron too often. Right, most of the big YouTube accounts, they don't talk about Tron too often, but just understand where it is and what it's done. You guys, this thing has had one of the best bull runs this whole cycle. It's one of the only cryptos, let alone cryptos, but just in the top 10 itself as well, that has outperformed Bitcoin consistently. not even to a small degree, but to a large degree. I mean, you're at your low in the bear market here, all the way at 4.4 cents. You're at 27 cents now. Bitcoin's been battling the whole way through, and it's actually come up this year to be red so far. Tron is well in the green, and it hasn't been battling at all. It's just consistently moving up. This has been a long period. This whole market cycle, Tron's been moving up, no problem, but this has been a long period where we consolidate. We had one of those periods here. We had one of those periods here. We have another one here. I'm assuming we're at the end of this year. Again, right? And that's great for Tron, but that also might be good for then crypto as a whole. Why might it be good for crypto as a whole? Number 6 crypto. Excluding stablecoins, Tron is the number 6 crypto. What's good for this is probably going to be good for several other cryptos as well. And BNB, Tron and BNB tend to move together. So if BNB and Tron are both moving up, 2 top 10 cryptos moving up together at the same time, you would assume others are moving up. You'd assume there's got to be some health in the markets with that, right? And Tron, I think, is a really safe investment. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but Tron here at this price of 27.7 cents is probably one of the safest investments in the crypto space right now. Probably. Genuinely. From a low to a high, you hit your 0.5. You've consolidated a little bit. It's completely possible that we do go lower. We could go to the golden ratio. It is completely possible. But I would really like to see us find support here. Because, again, if Tron goes lower, the rest of the market likely goes lower too. And if Tron goes that much lower, well, we likely see the rest of the market go significantly lower as well. The weekly time frame here, you're at your oversold area, which you haven't been in quite some time. You're literally at the same levels in your RSI at the low point here that you were at the end of your crab market sideways consolidation phase. You have lower lows in the RSI, higher lows in the price. It's hidden bullish divergence. The stochastics are reset entirely. You've been down here for quite some time. I think it's time to come take a breath of fresh air. And the MACD, the oscillators, have come all the way down to the 0. It's a perfect place to bounce. Right, you literally bounced right here last time. You saw something like this. Now, you did get a lower high, in all fairness, but that's not the point. You got a nice bounce. If we get a nice bounce here, what's good for Tron is good for the rest of the markets. That's the point. Hidden bullish divergence with lower lows here, lower lows there in the oscillators, higher lows here, hidden bullish divergence on every weekly indicator that we have. The daily time frame has bullish divergence, right? We can see here, and this one gives me hope that even if Bitcoin does go lower, it's probably not going to be that much lower, and it won't be for long. We've got a bullish engulfing candle right now, and we have higher lows here. We have a bit of a double bottom in the stochastics, and we have bullish divergence on the MACD on all time frames. So I think what we're getting set up for Tron here is a bit of recovery, right? We've got this W shape here. Once we get above this, if we can get back up to 30 cents or higher, I would think that validates this area as the low. Once we get up to 30 cents or higher, if it's not the low, you know, maybe we come down, we get a slightly lower low, but and then we're in a greater W or something like that. Maybe that's what it is. But I think right here for now, the target area that I would have in mind is something that is just above these highs here, something right above 30 cents. Maybe we go right to these lows. Maybe we go all the way up to 31 cents, but 30 cents and 31 cents is what my expectation is. I don't have anything else that I want to say. I wanted to just get on here and make those comparisons to Bitcoin and show you guys what I'm seeing here and why I don't, first off, I don't believe that we're in a bear market, but second off, I do believe that we're going to see some recovery in the market soon. I think Tron has found a low. And typically that bodes well for the rest of the markets as well. Maybe Bitcoin has lower to go. Maybe it does. Maybe this is not the low, and maybe it does go lower than that low. We've accepted that as a possibility plenty of times. But I still believe that in time, soon enough too, we should see recovery for Bitcoin and the rest of the markets. Maybe not by the end of this year, maybe not by the end of December, but sometime in January, I think things will really start to come to life. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.